Welcome to Sober Smash. Sober Smash. Get to the core issues with King Scott and get Sober Smashed.
Another edition of Sober Smash Live. Today's special guest is Ray Rapaglia from the James Club Recovery. We'll have Ray join us in just a moment. Right now, let's take it over to King Scott. I need a little help today.
Jonesy. Maybe we'll have James in here also. You never know what's going to go on a day like today in southern Florida.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those few days it's not raining. I know you're coughing like it's a blizzard outside.
I am.
On demand. I love it.
Can't get rid of that.
I love it.
Can't get rid of it.
You know, Scott, over the last couple of months, we've had some losses. We don't generally talk about some
I feel like
of these
it's going to
people,
be me if I keep this up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm afraid of. So I just want to tell you that you're in good company. Chris Cornell, we know, passed away
like
2 months ago.
What a shame.
He was the lead singer from Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Roger Moore, 007,
Wow.
passed away. Wow. And that was back in May. And then a couple other shockers.
Best James Bond ever, Jonesy. I think.
Is that your favorite?
Best guy. I love the guy.
See,
he was very cool.
See, now I liked Dalton.
Did you?
Yeah, there was something about Dalton that I liked, and you can't deny Roger Craig is really good.
He's pretty good too.
But yeah, you know what? Moonraker, one of my favorite James Bonds with Roger Moore.
Nice.
Adam West, talk about an icon,
the Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you realize when they started redoing the Batman movies, he was upset that they wouldn't cast him? I mean, he was, I don't know how old he would have been at the time.
97?
Yeah.
Because the first thing to put on those tights and that cape.
It's the first thing you look for. Yeah, the first thing you look for in your hero is a distended belly. But
I put those tights on now and cape and run around my house. I look crazy.
He used to brag. He said that was all me muscle. Not like the guys today who have all the built-in muscles.
It might be more meat muscle.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Couple others. George Romero, Land of the Dead and things like that. You know, great horror director.
Glenn Campbell.
And Glenn Campbell. I honestly didn't realize he was still alive, so I feel bad when I heard
Who's that?
passed. Glenn Campbell. I didn't know he was still alive, so I felt really bad. It's not like he's been out there doing things, or maybe he has.
That's terrible.
I know.
Terrible.
I know. Rhinestone Cowboy, Wichita Lineman, great music
Big
from
songs.
Glenn Campbell.
Big song.
And probably the best hair in the business at the time.
He did have good hair.
Yeah. Oh, he had fabulous hair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Trump wanted that hair. It was so good. I mean, that was good hair.
Can you blame him?
That was Kim Jong-un wants that hair.
Kim Jong-un. Now, this guy. Let's talk about what's going on with this guy. This guy doesn't know if he's pressing the button. He doesn't know what to do.
Oh, no.
He's sitting there going,
well, you know why he doesn't know? Because there's no reaction from the crowd.
There isn't.
He walks out. Every film you see of North Korea, everybody's miserable.
And they're all wearing gray.
They're all wearing gray.
They're like, it's like Constipation Day in North Korea. I tell you, that's what it looks like there. It's Constipation Day.
Just a little flash of color. Maybe smile once in a while.
Exactly.
It won't kill you.
The only thing that has color is the missiles.
That's
the only thing they paint are the missiles. That's it. Well, we have a great guest today.
Yes, we do.
I'm really excited to see him. Let's see if he's at the door.
Yeah, let's see if we can get to Ray to stop by. Again, Ray Rapaglia, he is one of the co-founders of James Club Recovery, and he's going to tell us all about that. Great guy. You had a chance to meet him previously, so we're excited to get him in here and introduce him to our...
he's a great guy. Here he comes.
Our podcast family.
There he is. The man of the hour.
That's it.
What's going on, Ray?
Hi, guys.
How you doing, buddy? Put on those headphones right there.
Okay.
Get yourself settled
Hear
in.
what's going on.
All right. Just make sure it doesn't mess up your hair there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just wanted to make sure.
That's.
It looks good. It looks good. On the money. So, Ray, tell us a little about you. Tell us about Ray himself, and then we can get into what you're doing.
Okay. I'm from New York City.
All right. New York
I
in the
was
house.
born in a place called Brooklyn, New York,
Nice.
Never heard of it.
but grew up in Long Island.
Right.
And at a very young age, I worked on Wall Street and became a stockbroker. And shortly thereafter, did something a little different. I opened up a nightclub in Manhattan and moved down to Florida in 2002. And I'm recently married. I have 5 children.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What? 5 children?
Well, My first
works
marriage,
fast.
we had 2.
He
No,
works
my
fast,
new wife
Jonesy.
has 3 children. So I have 3 stepchildren.
He's from Brooklyn. He works fast.
Okay. Yeah. Not time to mess around.
Remember, if
eh?
anybody has questions out there for Ray or anyone on Sober Smash, please write them in. We'll take them and try to get to them as soon as possible.
So, what brought you down to Florida from New York?
I had a ex-wife
Okay.
whose family lived in Pembroke Pines.
Okay.
And she wanted to come closer to her family, and I moved down here and bought a house.
Okay.
And now I live in Hollywood.
Great. Great.
Excellent.
Well, welcome to South Florida.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And James Club Recovery. What's James Club Recovery? I actually know, but I know the listeners don't all know.
Okay, about 8 months ago, my partner and I, his name's Josh, we started James Club Recovery in Fort Lauderdale. We are a spiritual-based, sober living facility, and we're dedicated to helping men, eventually women as well,
Right,
that
right.
struggle with drugs and or alcohol.
Now, it says here that this program that you have, this is, I mean, although I'm sure it's updated and you have your own spin, but you're modeling this after something from 1935.
Correct.
Could you tell us about that?
I can, and in order for me to do that, I'd have to just backtrack a moment and tell you why I did this.
Please,
Okay?
please.
Yeah,
do.
please.
Great. In June of 2010, after being a highly successful Wall Street stockbroker, I was a senior vice president for both Lehman Brothers and Payne Weber.
Okay.
But I had a drinking problem, and I also got addicted to opiates. And after traveling by limousine, I became homeless and lived in the Pompano Beach Cemetery under a tree. And a man named Michael helped me for no reason at all. And recently I celebrated 7 years clean and sober.
Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
And I show my gratitude to God by helping men. And I had this vision because when I first came into the program, I read about this well-documented 75% success rate that they achieved in early AA.
Right.
It's listed on page XX of the big book in the second forward. I spent 2 years of my life studying why. So I wanted to replicate that program at the James Club, and that's what our current vision is. We started it 7 months ago. We already have 75 men that live in our facility. Back then, they did their 12 steps quickly. They sponsored men, and they taught from 3 spiritual books of the Bible, including the book of James.
Well, that's awesome. I want to backtrack just a bit because I think this it's an important point. You talk about going from Wall Street, to under a tree, and I think that's a story a lot of people have had and are ashamed of that story. You're not saying this like in a shameful tone. You're very outgoing with that story, and I think it's very helpful to a lot of people. What kind of fall was that? Was that fast? Was it slow? Did you understand what was happening in that fall? Or wasn't it until afterwards when you realized how much you actually lost?
That's a great question.
All right.
I categorize my drinking and drugging career, which lasted roughly 33 years, into 3 categories. My first third was a lot of fun. My second third was fun and problems. And my third was all problems. So I'm the kind of alcoholic / drug addict that is so proud to be an alcoholic and drug addict because I'm using my experience now to help others. I am so grateful for the amazing life that I have. And I don't hide that fact that I had an addiction, but I'm now using it to achieve something I've never had before in my life, and that's purpose, which is producing such joy for me. So I've been just so blessed. The sheriff of Broward County, an amazing man who believes in giving deserving individuals another chance, presented me with the Recovery Man of the Year award. Last year, I was featured on the TV show Intervention in November of 2016. Earlier in the year, they sent my wife and I up to Washington, D.C. to share my testimony on Capitol Hill. There were 500 people there, including 3 senators. The video is on YouTube. The United Nations and the African Council presented me the Golden Rule Award, which was all for me blessings of the program, and truly have nothing to do with me. It's my higher power, whom I choose to call God, working through me. So I wanted to give back, and I really believed in what they did in early AA. So I wanted to start this program, and we're one of the only facilities in Broward County that'll let a man in on day one with no money out of pocket. And we're so blessed now to be working with so many amazing partners, including Treatment Partners of America. And I'm so grateful to be here with the two of you. We are a FAR certified facility, and we're in the process of growing. We want to make a difference. We want to really help in this terrible epidemic, especially with opiates, which was my drug of choice.
Wow.
I got a question here for you, Ray. Somebody wrote in, John wrote in. Is it only one religion in the center, or what about someone that's a non-religious person? Will I fit in?
Oh, that's a great question, because we're not a religious program. We're a spiritual-based program, and we're a strong believer that everyone's on a different spiritual journey.
Okay.
So our program is open to everyone, and we're very, very respectful of everyone's individual belief systems.
Oh, that's excellent.
Hopefully that answers your question, John. Here's another one. How different is it when you're dealing exclusively with men?
Well, I think it's very important that men work with men and women work with women. And I'm a real hands-on operator of the facility.
Right.
And I can relate to what all the men go through. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I've read many times, points out that selfish self-centeredness is the root of my trouble. And my whole life I've been very selfish. I have a big ego, and I'm working on it. I'm selfish, I'm working on it. I've had many character defects that I've made progress on, and I feel I can relate with men much better on men's issues so that I can help them. And with my experience, hopefully they can turn their life around and give back by helping other men. And that's what our whole concept is about, giving back.
You ever see a guy walk in, you go, you know what? That reminds me of me. That was me 7, 8 years ago. That's me. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what do you tell that guy?
Well, it's just so amazing. The one word that comes to mind, and I had to look it up,
Okay.
is kindred.
Kindred.
Right.
Yeah, we come from the same tribe.
That's right.
That's what the word means.
We're the same.
We're the same. I'm experiencing a world I never knew existed.
It's all about what you do.
Absolutely. I grew up in a middle-class Italian-American family.
Right.
My dad owned a little pizzeria in Long Island. I went to Hofstra University. I played Division I soccer. Didn't last very long because I majored in partying. So at early age, I go to work on Wall Street.
Right.
At 26, I'm the youngest senior vice president at PaineWebber, making a 6-digit monthly income, $250,000, $500,000 a month. And I didn't know how to handle the success.
Right.
And I thought that money would buy me happiness. Excuse me. I share all that about my past because I try to stress to men that it's not about what you have. It's about the peace and what you feel on the inside.
Absolutely.
And for me, that all comes by helping others.
Absolutely.
But that's a major roadblock, especially working with men. I don't want to speak for women, but being in recovery myself.
Jonesy, you can speak for women too, though.
I
know
really
you
don't.
Pretty well. You can definitely speak for women.
I spoke for women twice, and it added up to 2 divorces. Anyway, the issue. Yeah, thank you. The issue of getting past the ego and becoming humble, where I've had all of this. I was at the top of my game. I was what society would call a success, and now I'm not. That's a really tough roadblock for men to get through. Do you agree?
No doubt.
Yeah.
For me, it was part of my process of growth because no two men have the same combination of character defects. At the James Club, we practice something called compunction, where we identify your shortcoming and we work on the opposite virtue. So can you imagine if you practiced one character defect a month and worked on the opposite virtue, the kind of man that you'd be in a year from now? Because to us, that's what it's about, not stopping drinking and drugging. It's about change.
Right.
And what's the average stay of someone at the James Club that comes in?
That's another good question, Scott. A minimum of 8 months to graduate, but we're one of the only programs that doesn't put a time constraint on how long an individual can stay. I'm a big believer in treatment followed by long-term structured sober living.
I love it.
I've never relapsed. Not that I'm special or anything. It's just my story.
Sure.
And what I did in early AA, within 3 months, I did my steps, and I was sponsoring a bunch of men. And then I did a lot of service work by going into the jails to give back, to carry my message of hope. Because I have a little bit of a unique story, like we all do. I've been the feature story on the Heard on the Street column in the Wall Street Journal. When I owned my nightclub in Manhattan, it was called Bacchus on 24th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. When you own a club in Manhattan, you get a knock on the door. And wasn't the Boy Scouts. It was a very challenging time of my life. There I was partying with Robert De Niro and Donald Trump and Keith Richards. I had $1 million loft in Tribeca. And in June of 2010, I was eating out of garbage pails. I lived under this tree in the Pompano Beach Cemetery, and I had a perfectly tied lasso in my backpack trying to determine what branch to hang myself from.
Wow.
Drugs and alcohol took away not only all my materialistic possessions, but they took away my soul. I didn't want to live. And this man named Michael, like the archangel, he helped me for no reason at all, which I couldn't understand. Why would a man help another man? And he got me into something called the halfway house. And now, 2 months ago, 2 circuit judges presented me my 7-year medallion. And truly, I've never been happier in my life. I don't make a lot of money, but I go to bed at night. I can't wait to wake up the next morning because I'm so grateful.
Boy, that's incredible, Ray. We need to take a quick break. We have a lot of questions coming in for Ray. We'll get to them all right after this little break. Stand by.
Welcome to Treatment Partners of America, your partner in recovery. Treatment Partners of America is a unique, state-of-the-art substance abuse facility. Our trained professionals first focus on finding the core issues in trauma that lead to addiction, with some of the best doctors, nurses, and behavioral health techs the industry has to offer. We offer personalized one-on-one therapy 5 days a week, raising the bar to a higher level of standards. Whether it's drugs, alcohol, eating disorders, gambling, sex and love addiction, or even relationship addiction, Treatment Partners of America has specialists to treat and to help heal your addiction long-term rather than attempt a temporary 30-day quick fix.
And welcome back to Sober Smash Live. Today's special guest is Ray Repaglia from the James Club Recovery, one of the co-founders. King Scott, take it away.
You know, Ray, you have a fascinating story. We've interviewed a lot of people on this show, and, everybody's got their story, their own little makeup. I got to tell you, dude, you got a great story. You really do, and you're a cool guy. I mean, you've accomplished so much. I know you a short period of time, and I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed, and I'm not easily impressed by people. And you've come into this industry and really 1,000 miles an hour. You came in, man, blazing saddles. And you're doing the right thing, and I like that. I respect that. You got my respect, buddy. Totally.
Thank you, Scott, because to
Great
me
job.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, if you're helping others, you have to do it for the right reasons.
Right.
You have to prioritize that over making money. That's
I totally agree. And I know you spend a lot of time going to the jail system here in South Florida, seeing guys a couple times a week and helping anyone that needs help. You never say no, and I like that.
Correct. In fact, it's a big part of my story. I made the jails my ministry. Mm-hmm. And to give back, in early recovery, I start bringing lots and lots of meetings into the jails.
Right.
In fact, almost every night.
How do they respond to that, the inmates?
It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah?
I walk in and many of them go, Ray's here. And then I'm
So
sure
you're
some
actually-
other...
You're giving them hope.
Well, that's what I do.
And you're letting them know that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I call it my message of hope.
Right.
Because when I come into the jail, you know, there's a bunch of men sitting in blue jumpsuits. And the first words out of my mouth is I point to the door and I let them know that that door is going to open soon. This is a temporary situation, guys. And if you're willing to turn your life around and be honest and do the right thing and stay clean and sober, when you get out, if you need help, give me a call. And I'll do my very best to help you.
Right, right.
And almost every single night for 3 years, my phone rang at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No kidding.
Did you know they let men out of jail at 4 o'clock in the morning?
I didn't know that.
No, I
that's
didn't
when,
know that.
That's when they get out over in Pompano.
I know that was the best time to dig the tunnels, but I didn't realize they actually opened the doors.
Yes,
Okay.
that's when
Jonesy, you made a joke.
I made a joke.
That's great.
Thank you.
Made a joke.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
2 years, one joke. I like it.
Thank you.
Yes, it's true. They get out early in the morning.
Yeah.
And many times they have no place to go.
Right.
And it's in a bad area. And I don't
So
know.
these guys know to call you.
Well, it's funny you asked that. Yes, it's pretty amazing because I looked down at my phone number one day.
Right.
You're not allowed in the jail to write anything down and hand it to someone. So I'm thinking, how can I, have these men memorize my phone number? And I looked down and it dawned on me and I came up with a jingle.
Okay.
So after the meeting, I would tell the men, if you need help when you get out, please remember what's the area code of Broward County.
Right,
And
right.
they'd simultaneously say 954. And I would then say, and what's the gun we used to rob the banks with? Signifying we repented and we're changing. The 380. And what year did Christopher Columbus discover America? 1492. And what's that, everybody? Ray's cell phone number.
That's great.
And that's how everybody memorizes my phone number.
That's great.
By 954-380-1492. And anybody can call me 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and I'll do my very best to help.
I think you're going to get some calls now, Ray. We just gave that number out.
Now, you talked about all this working with the jails and stuff, and this is something, obviously, part of your personal journey. But it really looks like with the James Club Recovery, you've made this a part of their journey as well. You've made this a part of their daily lives. I could see some of the things, working with the homeless, feeding the homeless, soup kitchens, nursing homes. This is really important, the giving back part, right?
It definitely is, because my whole life I thought that it was all about making money.
Taking.
Yeah,
Right.
it was all about taking. I was a typical Wall Street guy. I thought I was a big shot when I really wasn't. To me, it was all about materialism, who had the fanciest car, the big apartment, the nicest watches. And now it's not about that to me. It's about love. It's about helping others. So, yes, at the James Club on the weekends, we feed the homeless. We go to soup kitchens, nursing homes. We do a lot of volunteer work with the great Broward Sheriff's Office. The Broward Sheriff's Office gives back so much to the community. It's amazing. And I made my ministry the jails because, when I was out in active addiction, buying drugs from people, I perpetrated crimes. I just was blessed and never got caught except for one DUI in my life. So I really feel for the men in jail for one reason. I believe they are the least of our brothers. And I'm not a big Bible guy, although I love God. Mm-hmm. And in Matthew, they talk about helping the least of our brothers. So if you're a drug addict and you're in jail, I believe you're the least of our brothers, and those are the men I want to help. I want to help men that are homeless. I want to help men that have no place to go. And when they call me up at the James Club, even if we're full, I'll put them up on a couch.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's great. Now, I know you had a story about your dad growing up, and if you want to share that with us, that would be great.
Okay, thank you for asking that, because it's one of my greatest rewards in recovery. My dad was a very proud Sicilian man, came to this country when he was 17. He was pretty strict, and he was a very loving dad, never drank, never did drugs, the most honest man I've ever met in my life. But because of my addiction, we grew apart.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And one day he said words I didn't think my father would ever say to me. He said, "Lose my phone number, you're no longer my son." He just couldn't take the pain. He didn't know what to do anymore. Well, thanks to this program, we became best friends. And I had the greatest blessing on February 11th of this year, his birthday. I married this amazing woman as an honor to my dad on his birthday and asked him to be my best man. He took the microphone, and there were a bunch of judges at my wedding. The sheriff's family was at my wedding. It was just amazing. My friends, my children. And my dad said on the microphone that he was so proud of me. And he said that this program gave him back his son. And he said words that I'll never forget. He said that he was finally happy. His oldest son met someone really nice and married her, is now clean and sober. And he said that he was just so happy. I don't want to get emotional, but it was just amazing, my dad saying these incredible words. And I'll never forget them, because exactly 2 weeks later, he unexpectedly went home to the Lord, and he passed. He died in his sleep. And even though I lost my best friend, he died happy knowing that his son was clean and sober.
Wow. What a powerful
Wow.
story.
That's a great story.
Thank you.
It really is.
And you know, Ray, as you're talking, I'm looking at this journey from the top all the way down to the bottom to a peak that's even higher than you thought you were before. Doing these great things. For people out there who are listening, and I just want to remind everybody, if you know somebody who's suffering, you can share this podcast with them. You could do that. You're not a Superman. It's not because you're special that this worked. Everybody can do this.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really hard for people to accept. It's like, well, yeah, but that's Ray. He's super, and he does this. And everybody can achieve this, can't they?
Oh, I completely agree. I think the first part about it is willingness being the key.
Okay.
And you need to also put the effort. But if you're struggling from drugs and or alcohol, like many of us are, you definitely can do exactly the same thing that I'm doing. And that's what we're hoping to achieve at the James Club. The men there are my brothers, and I want us together to make a difference. That's why I want to partner with amazing treatment facilities like Treatment Partners of America, because I so believe that if an individual finally surrenders, goes to detox, comes into a solid treatment facility, and then goes to long-term sober living, that individual becomes permanently sober, and then he can make a difference. He can become a good husband, a good father, a good son. He can give back. He can add to the stream of life. And that's what we're all about. So I'm just so grateful and blessed to be part of it. I always had a lot of energy. I work 7 days a week.
Right.
Because I absolutely love what I do.
That's great.
Now, is your wife involved in the business with you?
No, my wife's what they call a normal person.
She's normal. How did you meet such a normal person?
Well, it's kind of amazing, too, because it was the one void I had in my life.
Right.
My life was going incredible for me. I'm in recovery. I get to do this for a living, help people, and all the rewards and the promises coming true for me, peace and happiness.
Sure.
And the one thing I wanted the most was I wanted to fall in love. I wanted to meet my wife. I wanted to find my soulmate, because I was never in love my whole life. So my sponsor gave me some unique advice. He said, well, I want you to pray to God and ask him to send you one of his daughters. I was like, wow, what a great idea. So I do it. But I had to add a little extra. My mom, who passed away in 1997, I look up, I say, Ma, do me a favor. If you're up there with God, maybe you could put in the good word, and maybe you can, tell him to hook me up with a nice girl. The very next day in the gym, this beautiful woman smiles at me. She had the most incredible smile. So I went over to her, and I asked her to have dinner with me. And guess what she said? No. A couple days later, I'm in the gym. She smiles again. And I ask her this time to have lunch, thinking I'm slick. She says, no. 2 days later, I see her in the gym, and I don't know where these words came from. She smiles at me again, and I say, listen, I know you don't want to have dinner with me. I know you don't want to have lunch. Would you go to church with me on Sunday? She said, wow, no man has ever asked me that before. I'll go to church with you on Sunday. When the Mass was ended, I asked her a question. I almost fell off the chair. I said, when's your birthday? I go, what? July 8th? That was my mother's birthday.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was coincidental,
Wow.
but I married her a year later. She's from the country of Belize. Her name is Tracy. She became my best friend.
Good for
And
you.
she fully supports what I do. When I come home at night, I listen to her day. She has a wonderful career. And when I come home, we talk about my residents. And she knows for some strange reason, I fall in love with my guys. I really care about them. They truly become my brothers.
Sure.
And they're keeping me clean and sober.
Sure. That's a great story, Ray.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I think everybody wants to
Awesome
know.
story.
You've been married for over a year. Did you ever get dinner with her, or is she still refusing?
They order out every night and they eat separately.
No, the funny thing is I cook. 'Cause my dad owned a restaurant,
there you
and
go.
she likes that part of me. I cook for her all the time.
Well, Ray, you've been a great guest. A lot of people are asking how to get in touch with you. We're going to post all your information on our website, plus Ray's number is 954-380-1492. You can always get in touch with him, but we're going to post the information also. Ray, great, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
joining
I had
us,
a
Ray.
great
Sober
time.
Smash.
Thank you, guys.
Sober Smash.